Hey there, Diane Conklin with Complete Marketing Systems and Diane'sFarmDozen.com. Again, we are on episode 3 of 12 in Diane's Farm Dozen, where I'm talking about the 12 lessons that I learned growing up on a farm that apply to business, that I've used in my business to reach levels of success, and that I have shared with clients who have gone on to make 6, 7, 8 figures. So, number 3, episode 3 is do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not, right? Look, on a farm, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter if you have the flu, if you're sick, or if you're just having one of those days where you don't feel like doing anything. Doesn't matter, right? Because the chickens need to be fed and the eggs need to be gathered. The cows need to be let out. They need to be fed. The pigs, they'll get mean if they don't eat, right? But plants, I mean, the fields have to be tended to. If it's planting season, right? So you're in the spring and now it's time to plant. Sometimes you have to get the seed in the ground while you have a day, right? If it's been raining or conditions haven't been right, let's just say it's been raining for days on end and you've had 2 days where look, here's the thing to remember. This is heavy equipment, tractors and plows and discs and planting, the planters that put on the back and all that. It's heavy. So you can't, as soon as it stops raining, right? This isn't your garden where you can, as soon as it stops raining and it hasn't rained for an hour and the grass is dried up, you can go out and play in the flower bed. This is not that. You have to wait on the farm until you can get the equipment where it needs to be. And sometimes that means through a muddy lane or a wet lane, what we call a lane, right? A dirt path, if you will, to get from one field to the next. So if you look, for example, here, right? I know sometimes my finger disappears because I have this set as a background, but this little area right here, that's an area that we took the equipment through. And so if that's muddy, you don't take a big tractor through that area and get it stuck. Or sometimes the tractor is heavy enough to get through, but whatever you're pulling behind it isn't. And there's no way to get around, right? I mean, you can't drive through a field that's muddier than the lane is, right? You can't drive over stuff you've already planted. You can't drive over barns or trees or whatever to get there. So this piece of you have to take advantage of the time that you have, right, on the farm. And so, what that taught me and how I relate that to business is it doesn't matter what I feel like doing, right? What matters is what's on my calendar. What matters is now, look, I'm not talking about you have a major health issue and you got to take time off, right? That's a whole different thing. And something that I'll be doing in the future will be a lessons that I learned from a health challenge, which is coming probably next after the farm series. But what I'm talking about is, you know, I just don't feel like it. Well, it doesn't matter. And if you can employ that same attitude in your business, what you're going to find is that your productivity increases. So let me give you a different kind of example. I lift weights 4 days a week, and cardio the at least 2 of the other 3 days are major cardio days. In other words, I'll take a longer walk or ride the bike longer, whatever it is, right? And I try to do some cardio at least 2 of the 4 days. I don't always do cardio on the days that I work legs because my legs are tired, and I do cardio second as a general rule. But I work out generally 5 to 6 days a week. And so that's what I call a non-negotiable. And here's what I know. Are there days when I don't feel like going to the gym? Yeah, there are, right? There are. Just it happens. But here's what I know. I've never regretted going, but I have regretted not going. Because I always feel better after a workout. Always, bar none. Even on days when I'm physically maybe not there's a little something going on, which happens, right? On occasion, a little stomach this or a little headache this. Sometimes the headache is gone after the workout. So I always feel better after the workout. But if I don't work out, somehow I never get that same feeling. And there's a lot of reasons physiologically for it, which we won't go into here. But your business requires that same thing. It doesn't matter if you wake up in the morning and you're just not feeling. Let me just go, now look, am I saying that you can never do this? No, I'm not saying that you can't ever say, you know what, I'm having a Netflix day and just go sit and do that. Sometimes you need that. But too many people, and I'm sure you're not one of them, do that too many times, right? So one Netflix day turns into two Netflix day, which turns into a week of Netflix, and now you're not being productive, right? There's a big difference between being busy and being productive. Unfortunately, too many people are addicted to the busy part and they forsake productivity because of it, right? So if we can get out of, look, again, here's some tough love. Your feelings don't matter. It doesn't matter what you feel like. There's work to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Here's the thing that I know. This is something that the late Pat Summitt said. And she said, I know I'm going to beat you, not necessarily because I'm better than you, but because I will outwork you. And when you think about it from that perspective, many times in life, and certainly in sports, it's not the most talented athlete, it's not the most talented person, it's not the smartest person that wins. It's the person who worked the hardest. Why are some of the most successful people in the world, some of the most successful entrepreneurs and business owners, why were they C students? Why did they drop out of school? Why? And I'm not advocating that, okay? Why did they not go to college? Because they're not the smartest or the brightest. You don't have to be. And that's the good news. But you do have to be the person who's willing to work the hardest. Is that you? Again, we all have days. But if days start to turn into weeks, there's a problem, right? My rule for going to the gym is I can't miss more than 2 days. Because if I miss more than 2 days, now it's a real struggle for me to go back. It just is. I don't know why. But if I put those gym clothes on and my tennis shoes on and grab my workout bag and I go, even if I don't have my best. So here's the thing, right? On the farm, those things have to happen, right? Well, what if you looked at your business the same way? My family's income came from the farm and from the land that my dad farmed. Yes, he also had a job, but that's how we ate. I would say that's how we took vacations, but we didn't take vacations. We took one in my entire life. And we stayed in the same state. But that's a story for another day. But, you know, it did allow me to play travel softball. It did allow me to, do all of those things, right? That I wanted to do as a kid and developed. But my point is, your feelings don't matter. And I know that may sound harsh, but they don't. What do you need to do today? What does your calendar say that you need to do? And go do it. Now, here's the good news. If you've got 4 things on your calendar and you get them done in the first 2 hours of the day, and that's all you want to do, now, again, you can't do this every day, but on occasion, then okay, you're done. What's the one thing you got to accomplish today that makes everything else easier or unnecessary? If you get that done, maybe your day is finished. I don't know what your day looks like, but I do know this. If all you ever do is what you feel like doing, you wouldn't be where you are today. You probably wouldn't be listening to this or watching this series because you'd be in a different place. You'd probably have a job. And there's nothing wrong with having a job if that's what you want, right? But most of us started a business for time and money freedom. You get that by putting your feelings aside and just going to work. I often tell people one of the things that I do if I'm having a hard time or if I'm going through something in my personal life that is starting to affect the business. I don't have to physically do this anymore, but go get a box. Put it outside your office door, wherever it is that you work, outside the kitchen, outside the sofa. I don't know how people work without sitting at a desk, but that's just me. Go get a box, and when you walk into the area where you work, put all of those other things that are going to distract you in the box and close the box. And leave it there. Close the door if you have to, whatever it is, but close the box. They're there. It's there for you. When you're done working in 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever, right? And you go out of your office, you now get to choose whether you want to open the box and pick those things back up or if you want to leave them in the box. Now I can do this now without the physical box, right? Well, there's something about the threshold of walking into the office that I can do that with. But that's a great way to leave those things behind. Your feelings will be there, and you can open Pandora's box when you're done and deal with all of those things if you choose to. Your productivity will increase exponentially if you just do what needs to be done instead of what you feel like doing. I hope this was helpful. If you need help structuring your day, structuring your business, structuring your life in such a way that you can do this easier, reach out. Let me know. Let's have a conversation and see if I can help you. In the meantime, don't forget, go to dianesfarmdozen.com to get your copy and to make sure that you get all of the rest of the videos in the series, right? So do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Until next time, have a great day.